think that, but it's really just like they're protecting themselves from outside perspectives with these like little like stupid
that just quips and phrases and shit. That's where not just like non-believers have a disadvantage, but people on the political left have a disadvantage, because a lot of our conversation, our points are almost necessarily academic. Like, there's just no short way to say this. There are a billion short ways to spread misinformation. Well, obviously there are only two genders, obviously. And it's like you don't have to, because like if it appeals to like your gut feeling, your intuition, and if it's true like on a very surface level, that's all they need. That's all. It's like why they always say that, well, yeah, there's two genders, or two sexes. Like, it's basic science. Like, yes, you're right. It's basic science. If you're teaching this to a first grader, it's perfectly fine. There's no, I mean, like, this is a great foundation to build on when you get to intermediate science. But they never get past basic anything. And it's like where they talk about, well, capitalism obviously works, it's basic economics. It's amazing how often they use this shit without realizing. They're saying I'm an idiot. I'm just a total idiot who doesn't dig deep into anything. It's like, or the appeal to common sense. And it's like, it is a constant. It's like, and the common sense one has bugged me since I was a kid. It's like, okay, if I've learned one thing from reading about human history, is the phrase common sense is not all that common is nonsense. Common sense is very common. That's why it's called common fucking sense. And common sense is wrong all the time. All the time. Like, common sense tells you the earth is flat. It does. Like, you go outside, obviously. Yeah. And so I hate when they do this shit, when they talk about basic this, basic that, common sense. Yeah, of course, like, you would stop there because you're a goddamn moron. I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to tell you? It's infuriating, man.
And they always say facts don't care about your feelings, when basically they're going off of vibes, like, all the time. Like, there's no facts that are behind a lot of these claims and a lot of these things that they think. Like, yeah, the earth is flat if you just look around and don't have any facts but what's in front of you. And not like, a little bit more like research, because you're right.
And the facts don't care about your feelings is hilarious, because, like you said, they have a tenuous grasp on facts in the first place. So you have no right to say stuff like that. But
here's some facts that prove you wrong, and they're like, nah, bye.
Nope, not interested. But they also, like, everything about conservatism is based on feelings. Everything. Like, there's like no facts at all. Like, if facts matter so much, like, tell me, like, what's the fact of who's getting injured because Colin Kaepernick took a knee during a football game, before a football game? That is all feelings. That is, no one's losing money. Colin Kaepernick would be the only person who is actually taking any fire on this. And, like, nationwide revolt over the shit. Dr. Seuss's family decides, hey, 2 of these books got some racial stereotypes in them. Well, books you've never heard of, we're not gonna sell them anymore. Conservatives lose their mind, wearing pictures of Cat in the Hat, come and get it, and shit
now,
like that.
All of a sudden, the books can't be burned.
Yeah. Tell the Dixie Chicks that facts don't care about your feelings. When you guys just, it's just like, their entire movement is based on cancel culture. It's based on hurt feelings. Like, don't criticize their religion. Don't tell them that your ideas are backwards and wrong. If their feelings get hurt, like, they burn the place to the ground. Like, or they go to war over some shit. And I just,
it's fucking dangerous.
It is. Yeah, it is. Like, that's where you're talking about the violence, and we're already there. So we're talking about the violence that's involved here. Is that they? I know you talked about this before about the what's the word? Like, the duplicitous definition of violence they have, because they'll say that, street level crime, that's violent crime. And it is. No one's saying it's not. However, keeping people from receiving healthcare so they die, or restricting someone's access to, abortion or prenatal care, or bombing people in Gaza, that's not violence. That's nonviolent right there. And it's, one of those sides are a lot more violent than the other. Like, the fact that these people are committing street level crime in the first place is more or less a direct result of their socioeconomic status, which can be classified as violence as well. But they love it. They love that kind of violence. They will gladly support it. And and paint themselves as the hero while doing so. Onward Christian soldiers. Like they love that shit. It is really dark to see.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's only violence when it fits their narrative, when it fits their agenda. And that's it. They only care about violence when they think that it's going to threaten them somehow, or it's just really about them. Like if Fox News says something, they're going to go along with whatever Fox News is telling them, or whatever outlet they like been listening to, like fucking Rush Limbaugh. Like I know a lot of
God
people, like like they've been raised in that like cesspool. So yeah, anything that goes against what Rush Limbaugh has told them, they don't care. It's this narrow scope of the world where it's very fucked up and racist and capitalistic and so many other isms that it's holy the shit.
Listen, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I too was raised by Rush Limbaugh. I listened to Rush Limbaugh every day for years. I only
knew him through other people telling me about what he said. And so
all of it was true. Trust me. It was all like I'm sure it was all shitty stuff they told you. All of it's true. Rush Limbaugh was a demon, man. He I was still a conservative in high school and everything. Although I was never as far right as everyone else. Like to me, like their
fucking empathy that like wouldn't let you cross certain lines.
It wouldn't. Yeah. And I think being a minority played a big part in that too, where I was like, okay, it's really strange how fixated you guys are on, the horrors of the Black community. Like, okay, I don't like the way you're saying this. But Rush Limbaugh, I listened to him every day for years. I was a conservative and everything. And I will say that what Rush Limbaugh did a tremendous amount of damage to the nation. Like he pumped in this poison to millions of people, and it metastasized over the years to, the Trump phenomenon. Like Rush Limbaugh is a direct precursor to Donald Trump, just 30 years early. And I think I figured out then the importance of being a excellent communicator, because the stuff Rush Limbaugh said was terrible. I remember him going on TV once and talking about, he was arguing with William Shatner. Very weird clip. I think about it, but like, why those two were arguing, I don't know. But William Shatner was talking about how he believes everyone should have health care, and Rush Limbaugh said, no, I don't think they should. And William Shatner was like, well, what do you mean everyone shouldn't have it? What the fuck are you talking about? And he says, well, it's just like anything else. If you have a lot of money, you're going to be able to afford a really nice house. And if you don't have a lot of money, you're going to have a smaller apartment or a bungalow or something. And William Shatner was like, yeah, but we're not talking about mansions. We're talking about healthcare. Like he was just bewildered at how fucking insane this point was. And I remember, go ahead.
That's political violence.
It is. Yes, that's exactly like people will die because of this. They will be exposed to the elements. They won't get healthcare, and you're fine with it. You're perfectly okay. And I remember when Obamacare came out, one of the provisions, like the most popular one, was that Obamacare said that you can change insurance companies or get insurance even if you have a pre-existing condition. That was one of the main things hanging people up. Before that if you had cancer, diabetes, anything, honestly, your insurance premiums would be sky. You could never afford it. You might as well not get insurance. And like, okay, this is just stopping people from getting the health care that they need. I remember Rush Limbaugh being very much against this idea. He thought it was insane. And his argument was, well, listen, if I have like a car insurance company and you get into a car accident and then you come to me paying a small premium, I'm going to pay for that car. That's not fair. I'm going to lose money. And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true. But we don't give a fuck because this is healthcare. Like people need this to survive. We're not. He kept commodifying human life. And he did so in a very entertaining way. Like a lot of people they shit on Trump or whatever for good reason. They say he's not a good entertainer. Donald Trump's a hell of an entertainer. He's a hell of an entertainer. It's fantastic. He's a
media manipulator. He is
exactly.
He's so good at that.
He's great. Yeah.
Like people are fucking all over the media. So like if he can manipulate that, he can manipulate fucking tons of people.
It's perfect. Yeah.
And I think about people with like a chronic illness. Like someone didn't think about this for 2 fucking seconds, because it's like people want to pull themselves up by the fucking bootstraps. They want to. If they have a fucking chronic illness, they can't. So what are they supposed to fucking do? Just suffer and die?
Yeah, they're excess population.
In my friend circles, like people that I know who have chronic illness and shit, they can't fucking do capitalism. And so they don't have, safety nets of any sort. It just takes one thing like that to fuck up your entire life and not have any health insurance. And it's like, and I have a job, I have a career, and I have shitty ass health insurance. Like that's not even like, like I still have to pay premium. I still have to pay all types of shit when I go to the doctor for anything. And now I can't like get even like primary care a lot. Like I have an appointment for October to hopefully get a primary care doctor. Like that's how it is.
All right, you say that, but you don't understand. If we had universal health care, there'd be long wait time. So I just like, we can't do it, right? Yeah, because obviously you can be seen immediately for any issue with our current system. Universal health care is one of the biggest no-brainers in American politics. I'm honestly surprised we don't have it yet. I genuinely am, because I always say there are 2 arguments against it.
Entertaining a fucking clown show instead of actually caring about any issues at all. Like it's entertainment at this point. It's entertainment, it's emotional charge. It's they don't actually give a fuck about policy whatsoever. It's just, he's fun. He's funny. He makes these misogynistic jokes. He can say what he wants. He gets what he wants. Who the fuck cares?
I know.
We need fucking policies. Like we need more. Like this is not what politics is, and it's become this now.
Well, yeah, it's unfortunately true.
To a degree, like there's like a charisma that a politician has to have, like whatever.
You do, yeah.
But like now it's just a clown show, and they don't even care about policy.
A lot of times you hear people say like derisively that elections are just popularity contests. It's true. That's what they are. I mean, I hate it. I can't stand the fact that people will vote on vibes a lot more than we're willing to admit. Yeah. And you know what? I remember this. There are some things that are like flashbulb memories I'll never forget. This is one of them. I was listening to the radio, and it was 2016. And when Clinton was running against Trump, and they were interviewing this couple. And in my mind, like from their voices, they sound like they were in their 50s and 60s or 60s. And they asked them, hey, so who are you voting for? They're like, oh, we plan to vote for Donald Trump. And they said, okay, so are you guys lifelong Republicans? They're like, well, no, actually, we're not. In 2012, we voted for Obama. We also voted for Obama in 2008. We voted for Bush in 2004 and for Bush in 2000. And I remember just like, how are these people like? What the fuck? You went from look. I can see this happening once. I can see that. Hey, you voted for Bush. You didn't like what the Republicans had to offer. You studied. Now you're Obama. But man, flipping back, I was just like, oh, they probably just did the "who would I have a beer with" test. Like Bush seems like a fun guy. Oh, this Obama's pretty cool. Oh, look how entertaining this Trump guy is. That's how these folks are voting, and it blows my mind that these folks are. It's scary. Yeah, I hate it.
And you can't convince them otherwise. Like as soon as you start to try and convince otherwise, they just won't listen. They don't listen. They don't care. Like it's just cool.
I hate it.
Like I feel crazy.
I know, right?
Passionate about it, but why am I the crazy one for like caring about people? Like what the fuck is going on? It's like
it's like it's hard to explain because you know what it is. So I remember when I was in the Army and I worked in the recruiting office, and people would come in and they would fail the practice test to join the Army, and so I would help them, study for it and everything. And I had this girl I was working with, and she was like 18 or 19, and she had a weird family history. Like her mom was like in prison or something, or I don't know, it was prison, but her mom was not around when she was a baby and a kid, and so. She ended up being given to her auntie, like her mom's sister, but she didn't start school till like she was like supposed to be like in 2nd grade or something. So she missed a lot of formative years of school. And so I'm working with her, and there was a question on the practice test, and it said that there's a field and there are 2 flagpoles. One flagpole is 10 feet tall, and the second flagpole is 7 feet tall. and it says the 10-foot flag pole cast a 30-foot shadow. Mm-hmm. How long is the shadow for the 7-foot one? And she didn't know the answer. And I was like, okay, well, so the 10-foot pole has a 30-foot shadow. So the pole is, so the shadow is 3 times longer than the pole. So if you apply that to the 7-foot one, and she goes, oh, it'd be 21 feet. I was like, there you go. That's the answer. And she said, all right, but how did you know to do that? And I didn't have an answer. I still don't. Yeah. I don't have. I don't. Right. It's just like, it's like, but you know, and that's what they say. Yeah, you know, you're probably taught a lot of this like association and connection stuff when you're young, and if you don't get that, it's hard to. And I literally could not answer. I was like, well, I just noticed that it was 3 times longer. I mean, I don't know how to convey that, and that's how I feel sometimes talking to these folks when they're like, oh yeah, I vote for the guy who seems the nicest or the coolest or the funniest, and it's like. This is national policy we're talking about here, and like I don't give a fuck like how cool you are if you have horrible policies. It is scary that we live with these folks though.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh God! And with the first principles, I wanted to talk about real quick before we move on to that is the facts don't care about your feelings thing. This is interesting too because I don't know if you thought about this before. It seems like something you would have thought of when I thought of this. That all of our laws are actually ultimately based on feelings and they're irrational. All of them. Because if you ask someone like, hey, do you believe murder is wrong? And you say, well, yeah, I do. Well, why? Well, because if people can murder each other, that means I could get murdered. My friends and family, I don't want that. Okay, but what's so great about you and your family being alive? Well, you know, if we're alive, we can contribute to society and other people want that too. Well, what's so great about human society? You just keep going down this line. Like, what's so great about life in general? And ultimately it comes down to we don't want it. Like that's like we don't want those bad things to happen. So feelings are the basis for our every law and every rule we have.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just dismissing feelings is
like, what like define feelings. Like what are they talking about? Like that's the thing. Like they keep thinking like that they are detracting from feelings and only doing what's rational. That's not how
it works at all.